Hello, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharp. I'm here live to take your questions, also to talk to you about an important topic. So, as I've been touching base with people to evaluate options, to get legal status, get your work permit, get your papers here, one of the common themes that I'm seeing is there are many people who qualified for VAWA to be able to apply for their own green card, their own work permit, their own protection. However, at the time, they did not know that they qualified and time ran out on them. And so I want to talk about those situations so that if you're in this situation now, you can get on it and act and make sure you're applying for this benefit. Now, VAWA. Hi there, Karen. VAWA is a form of immigration relief that you're able to get if you are being mistreated by a U.S. citizen or permanent resident spouse, uh, um, or a parent, or a U.S. citizen son or daughter aged 21 or older, right? So the VAWA is not just about being mistreated by a U.S. citizen spouse, but also by a permanent resident spouse or a parent if you're under the age of 25, and also by a U.S. citizen son or daughter who's age 21 or older. So keep that in mind. It's not just about being married to a US citizen. You can qualify to apply for your own papers if you do have relatives who fit under that criteria. Now, the other thing is you can still apply for this if you are divorced. So another thing is, or separated. So a lot of people, what I've heard is, I didn't think I qualified because I had just divorced them. And, when I just divorced them, I figured I no longer qualified because I'm no longer the spouse of a US citizen. And that's not true. So, as long as you apply for VAWA within 2 years of a divorce, you can still qualify. So, if you have just gotten divorced, you can still apply for this benefit. You can still get your work permit and protection and your own green card even after divorce. But it goes even further than that. If your spouse was lost their status, so if they were a US citizen, they became denaturalized, or they were a permanent resident and they were deported, you still have, and not just spouse, but spouse, parent, child, if they lost their citizenship or they were deported, you still have 2 years of that, the deportation or the loss of status, to apply for this. This also covers situations where the individual that did the mistreatment passed away. If they passed away and you apply for this within 2 years of the death, you can still qualify to get your own papers without having to look at any other kind of immigration options. So it's important for you to know this, because I talk to people who they clearly qualified for this benefit, but time ran out on them. And especially now, we don't want time running out, right? And I know I've been seeing this a lot lately with all the policies, the escalation in immigration enforcement. Those spouses, the parents, and the children, the adult children, are also ramping up their mistreatment because now they feel like they can do this with this kind of climate that we're facing. So you may be there, you may be facing blackmail, they may be holding your immigration status over your head, stalling the paperwork, not cooperating with the immigration process, not filing, responding to requests for evidence, threatening not to attend interviews. That is a form of mistreatment. Because when you have a spouse that loves you, that's looking out for your best interest, they're not going to fail you like this, right? They're going to make sure that they're taking action in your best interest. So the number one red flag is if you have a spouse or a relative, a parent, or an adult child who they know that they can get this for you, they can have your back, they can get your papers, and they're stalling on this. You need to consult with me. You need to talk to us because there's something seriously wrong here and you need to jump on it. Now, the concern many times too is, well, will if I go and do this, will they know that I'm applying for this VAWA case? It's confidential under the law. Yes, even under this administration, it is absolutely confidential. So you will not, they will not be disclosing any information to that relative. And in addition to that, we also help to safeguard our clients by ensuring that we provide a safe address. So we collect all official documentation from immigration, all correspondence, so it never goes to a shared address with your relative where the relative can access your mail or read, discover that you have this process pending. That has been very successful for us, our clients. And trust me, we have had these situations where clients are living with this person that's still mistreating them. And we are also protecting their interests by moving forward with the process. And the both of them can coexist at the same time. We've done it successfully. So just keep that in mind when when you're looking at VAWA. It's not just about being physically harmed by an individual, but also emotional mistreatment, verbal mistreatment. So that you get into arguments, are they calling you names? That counts. Financial mistreatment, that counts as well. So get on it, right? And then we also look at other options. So, for instance, in the cases where the time ran out because they didn't apply for VAWA within that timeline, we have been able to find other solutions. For example, in some cases, the T visa. The T visa, because the spouse may have been forcing them to do a lot of work in the house to take care of their children, or basically send them out to other people to work for other people, or to go out there and work, or to work in their businesses. And in cases like that, we have found the T visa to be successful. So it's not to say if you've missed the deadline to apply for VAWA because you are divorced, and you've been divorced for more than 2 years, or the death or the deportation or loss of status of this individual happened more than 2 years ago, that there are other options that we look at to be able to still preserve your ability to get your protection here, get your work permit, and to achieve your goals. Because it's so much more than just a work permit or a green card. It's the meaning of having that, what it gets you to your goal, whether you want to go to school, you want to make sure your children are stable and that they are going to school, and without fear, that they have access to things like financial aid and scholarships, that you have access to meaningful work that where you can earn a fair wage. Because right now, if you're working under the table, of course, that comes with its own disadvantages in that you're not getting what you are supposed to be getting, and you're probably working 10 times harder than somebody who does have their status here. Thank you so much for the love on TikTok, as usual. That means that other people, as you are hitting the screen on TikTok, other people are seeing this, and this information is empowering them. There are people out there, you may be listening to me right now, you're going through this. We're a safe space. Talk to us, and then we can take action, right? It's all about looking out for yourself and taking action. The way that you can get in touch with us is you can go to the link in the profile and you can schedule your own appointment, or you can go ahead and call the office. So the phone number, you can use our phone. Let me see if I can get the phone number up. All right, so at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the phone number going across the screen. So it's 561-405-4889. Right now it's after hours. However, we answer 24/7, and then we go ahead and schedule you first thing in the morning. But just go ahead and give us a call so we can go ahead and get that done. So I think I accidentally also put up an outdated text on the screen, so please disregard that. That was related to our past information that we're talking about, I believe, regarding the banned countries. Now, here are some updates, immigration updates, and these are great updates. And it is once again a reminder that when you don't just lay there and do nothing, there are rewards. So we have had court filings. We have had a court judge, a federal court judge in Boston, find that the parole program under Biden that was terminated by Trump, that Trump had unlawfully terminated the parole program implemented by Biden. So what that means is the judge has ordered that those individuals should have their legal status restored. And this is significant because it's 900,000 individuals who lost their status that can now potentially have the ability to keep working and living here for the period that they were originally permitted to do so. We also, this was all over the news, of course, so if you may have seen it already, but we have been watching closely about the lawsuit that went all the way up to the Supreme Court regarding Trump's termination of birthright citizenship, under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, if you're born in the United States, you are a U.S. citizen. That's the rule. It's in the Constitution, which is the highest. It's the highest law of the land. So this is the law, and the Trump administration has blatantly violated that constitutional amendment by now saying that they're not going to allow babies who are born here to undocumented immigrants, to undocumented immigrants, or to immigrants on temporary visas. They're not going to allow those children to become U.S. citizens. Well, the Supreme Court justices, a majority of them were skeptical about this move. And this showed in their questioning of the counsel at the oral arguments. And usually, when we see this, it means that they're going to sway towards basically going against the Trump administration's move to end birthright citizenship. Of course, we can't confirm until we actually see the order issued, but it's a hint that we may not see birthright citizenship terminated, which is amazing because that would throw. I mean, first of all, it is a constitutional right that you're born here, you're a U.S. citizen. So it would really throw us into a lot of chaos and basically deny a constitutional right that has been in place for over 100 years. So that is another victory. Now, also, the Trump administration has lifted the pause on adjudicating asylum applications. So what they've been doing is they have, after the shooting in Washington, D.C., they put a pause on adjudicating, making final decisions on asylum applications. Well, now they've said that they're lifting that pause and moving forward with processing asylum applications for non-threatening countries. So we don't know, I guess we don't know what that means exactly, but it likely probably means that the countries on the banned list may remain part of the pause, right? So they haven't lifted the pause in regards to the banned countries, but they've lifted the pause, the blanket pause across all immigration asylum applications. But seeing that the Trump administration has made a move like that, are we going to see shortly that other pauses are going to be lifted? I really hope so. And so I'll keep you posted to see if that will be the case. But this is all good news. Now, in the next breath, after the melee in Minneapolis, we have seen them tamper down on the rhetoric regarding, forceful immigration enforcement and mass deportations. There has been a decrease in the reference to those kinds of terms, but it does not mean that the danger is not still there. It doesn't exist. And what's happening now is the within the MAGA sphere, they are now looking at different strategies to ramp up mass deportation. So they have been talking about doing workplace enforcement, so focusing more on workplace enforcement, which is controversial because now we're talking about targeting industries that primarily depend on labor, many of them being undocumented immigrants, like in the hospitality industry, construction industry, and agriculture industry. So, if they really want us to hone in on mass deportations and getting as many immigrants as they can to fulfill that purpose, then they're talking about targeting those industries to be able to fulfill that. That is controversial. We haven't had confirmation that that's going to be the adopted playbook, but it is they're lobbying. So you have different factions within that MAGA sphere that's aggressively lobbying for this kind of enforcement, workplace enforcement, where they can target more undocumented immigrants. So that is something that you should always just keep in mind, and I'll keep you posted if I do continue to see more on those issues. So now that I've said my part, I want to answer questions. So I'm going to first answer questions on Instagram, then I'm going to move to TikTok, and then we'll do Facebook and YouTube. Hi there, Jermaine. Nice to see you. Um, all right. So the ban has not been lifted yet. So we haven't seen anything about the ban being lifted for the immigrant visa ban for the 75 countries, not yet. But keep in mind, even if and I don't like to use the word ban because ban usually means you can't apply, you can't move forward. What It's a pause, even though they've said indefinite pause. It is a pause, and what I would say is don't count yourself out. Make sure you're still applying for the benefits that you qualify for, so you don't lose the eligibility for those. Hi, spouse of US, so I answered that. I have a 5-year B1, B2 visa, which I use to travel to the United States. However, my spouse is on track for a U visa and wants to file the C14 EAD for me. Will my B1, B2 visa be canceled, or I can have both? So I don't believe that. No, here's the deal. If you go for the work permit, it means that you're going to be staying here past the time authorized under the B1, B2. If you're staying here past the time authorized by the B1, B2 visa, in order to get the bona fide, the deferred action and the C14 work permit, which is related to the U visa, it means that they're going to invalidate the visitor's visa, right? So you would be put into a sort of a gray area where you have the ability to work here, stay here while your U visa is being adjudicated, but you won't have official status and you won't be able to travel back and forth using the B1, B2. Now, if you want to continue using the B1, B2 visa, you would have to stay outside of the US, wait for the final decision on the U visa, And then when you get the U visa outside of the country, then you come in with you travel in with that U visa, and then you can move forward from there. Um, but it all depends on what makes sense for you and your spouse. And this is, by the way, why it's so important to have your attorney, because what with everything happening now, our clients are able to reach out to ask various questions about if there's a change in their circumstances, will it affect them? Which is important because we don't want our clients to just jump and do anything that is going to affect their case. So it's important to have an attorney that's there to guide you through your process and just to bring you to success. I have a question. If someone apply for VAWA and miss his first fingerprint appointment and apply for reschedule appointment, how long does it take to have the reschedule? So I keep in mind I always give estimates, and the estimate should not be taken that that's going to be the case for you, because I don't control USCIS, their processing times, but it usually takes a few weeks, a month, maybe 2 months to get it rescheduled. But keep in mind, as I've been saying, it's based on my experience, and everybody's experience is different. Everybody's case is different. My daughter applied for a VAWA from 2024 and got her work permit and social security, but still haven't gotten her green card. Does VAWA take so long? Yes. So I think a lot of people, this is where I say educate yourself. Make sure you're going to uscis.gov, look at their case processing times, and you'll see the length of time it takes or the range of time they're taking to process the VAWA. Now, the important benefit of VAWA, because I don't want anybody to be short-sighted, right? Where it's like, oh my gosh, the process takes so long, I'm just not going to apply. Because if you qualify to get protection, you qualify to get your work permit, your social security, while you wait for your green card, why wouldn't you go for it? If it takes too long and then you decide not to apply, but then you get nabbed by ICE, then then you would have lost the opportunity. So I just want to remind people about that, the benefits of VAWA along the way. However, there is a processing time involved, and the processing time right now is over 3 years. So while you're here with the work permit, the travel document, if you apply for it, social security, you have that over the period of time that you're waiting. The green card doesn't come until later on in the process. So just make sure you're understanding the process along the way. May I ask a question, please? What update are we parents filing for over 21 year? So I guess what's the update on parents filing for their children who are over 21? It's the same. So you can look at the National Visa Bulletin, you'll see priority dates there. Whenever your child has hit the age of 21, the case processing times get longer. So it gets much longer. Right now, priority dates are current for spouses and children under 21 and unmarried of permanent residents and US citizens as always. So if you're one of those, jump on making sure you apply. Now, once you hit 21, you're looking at over a 7-year process to get your papers. So it's not a good solution if you're already here, you've overstayed, and you are looking for a solution. It probably won't be. Now, under VAWA, in some cases, under VAWA, you can still apply for VAWA as long as you haven't reached the age of 25, and this involves a parent that mistreated you. So once again, if you're under the age of 25, you've been mistreated by a US citizen or permanent resident parent, it's time to give us a call and talk about it. Let's see. I don't see any more questions on Instagram. These are all great questions, by the way. So keep them coming. What about people that are undocumented? People who are undocumented do qualify for VAWA. They qualify for various options, and our firm focuses on this. So our firm, we basically focus on solutions for immigrants in this situation where you may be undocumented, and we have successfully found solutions for clients. So if you are undocumented, I urge you to make sure you're exploring your options. All right. Hi there, Sasha. It's nice to see you as always. And thank you for the love. 6.2K likes on TikTok. Great. And this means that more and more people are seeing the live. And when they see the live, they're able to get information that empowers them. So thank you for following. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for the love, because it not only makes a difference for me, but it makes a difference for people that can actually see the information. All right, so I'm going to answer questions. I got an RFE for my VAWA case asking for my wife's birth certificate. Is that the last RFE? I am not your attorney. I wouldn't be able to confirm whether that's the last RFE, but usually they try to put everything in one RFE. So if you get an RFE that's just asking for one thing, that could be a good sign. Do I still pay asylum annual fee even if I finish my interview and waiting? Yes, still continue to pay that. How can I get housing with VAWA? So if you get a prima facie determination notice, you can check the state. So it really depends on, it goes by state by state. So the state's public benefits office would be able to advise on any eligibility based on a prima facie notice. Now, one thing to note, by the way, is VAWA does not require you to have an affidavit of support where you have to have somebody or you have to show that you have certain income. That is not required for VAWA. And in addition to that, they do not hold against you during the VAWA process and the green card process any acceptance of public benefits. So they are exempt. This is true for the T visa as well, and T visa applicants who are applying for their green card. Hi, I filed VAWA June 2022. Nothing yet. I keep receiving prima facie. What can I expect? It's been 4 to 6 months. So yes, you prima facie, it just means your case is in process. As what I say now is, yes, it's very frustrating. And one of the main frustrations is you want to move on with your life, right? You want to have certainty. You do continue to have protections while you're applying for the VAWA, which is really important and crucial right now. But yes, it does take a while to get to this decision just because it's backlogged like a lot of cases. But the benefit here is you do get protection while you wait. When you go to your court hearing, you must still show up. When you got to, I'm not sure what that means. Yes, if you are called to immigration court, you need to show up, or the judge can issue a deportation order, an order of deportation in absentia. I filed, as I answered this. Yes, so I filed VAWA. I think the I-485 and the VAWA got 2 separate biometrics appointment. Is that normal? Sometimes it does happen, yes. How can so I answered that. Is it true that you will get denied if you had your kids on Medicaid? Not, no, once again, if you're applying for VAWA, no, they don't hold that against you. They're not going to look at public benefits for VAWA. Now, if you are applying for adjustment of status, this is where it's crucial to plan ahead, because what happened is we have a new rule, public charge rule, that went into effect in March that now gives the officer, the immigration officer, broad discretion to look at various factors and circumstances in your background to determine whether you are likely to become a public charge. What that means is If a public charge usually means you will become primarily dependent on public benefits. But the danger here under the previous administration, which Biden administration, they only looked at, did you take cash benefits? Did you take long-term care benefits? Right. Those would be the two major things that could possibly get you tagged as a public charge and inadmissible. But now, what the officers are doing is they're going to be weighing the positive factors against the negative factors. So they're going to be looking at your background, and a part of that is looking at whether you have taken public benefits before, which include Medicaid. So in that case, if you took Medicaid, then they would count that as a negative factor, right? They're going to look at things like your age, your education level, your employment status, your health, your credit history, whether you have debt, whether you took public benefits, your household size. These are the aspects that they're going to look at. And if they find that, say, for example, you're in bad health, you've been on Medicaid, maybe you're not working because you're in bad health, then in that case they could then start stacking those negative factors against the upside, which would be the positive factors. And if it outweighs the positive factors, then yes, you could be denied. So this is where it's important. That's just where I say it is so important to have counsel now, because things are no longer as simple. I wasn't simple before, but no, it is not a simple layman's process anymore. Now, going into this, when we identify that there are issues that can come up in regards to public charge rules, we have to know, maybe address those issues beforehand. We have to plan ahead. We have to gather additional evidence to counter any kind of negative outcome that could come up as a result of the public charge assessment. So get an attorney, talk to your attorney, plan ahead. I can't stress that enough, because things are not that simple. As I raised this issue, I think yesterday, I did a quick live on Instagram, where another pattern I'm seeing is that they're really digging into people's backgrounds, even in their countries. And we have seen two situations right now where if they had a long-term relationship in Jamaica that does common law marriage. Common law marriage means you put yourself out there as a married couple, you've lived together for at least 5 years, that you would be considered a common law couple, married under Jamaican law. So if, say, in the case that you're getting separated when it comes to the division of property, then you can claim common law marriage, right, to assert property rights. Well, what they're doing is they're now saying, oh, well, your marriage to your US citizen spouse is invalid because you were in a common law marriage. That's how deep they're getting, guys, right? They're digging into people's back. They're finding relationships that they've had with people, and then now they're saying the people that I've talked to, they did never claimed to be married. They never put themselves out there to be married. But immigration is finding this information and now asserting that, yes, they're a common law marriage, so their current marriage to a US citizen is not valid, therefore they can't approve the green card. The other pattern we're seeing is in certain countries like Nigeria. They are now saying that the divorce in Nigeria that was obtained was not obtained legally. I've seen multiple instances of this. And so now they try to deny the case because they're saying the divorce, the previous divorce was invalid. So therefore the current marriage is not. So these are issues that we have to identify before. Simply just getting a marriage certificate and getting married and filing papers is not going to cut it right now, because they're really, really digging and reaching. Um, no, this I what I would say in that case with the common law marriage, it is definitely arguable, and it is definitely an issue that can be won. But this is what's happening, and if you don't know how to approach it, you will lose your case. You will be denied, and you will be in a lot of misery here. So I'm giving you an example of how really seemingly simplistic cases are becoming very complicated. So make sure you have your attorney for sure. If you don't have your attorney, before you file, you can always give us a call and let's start talking about planning ahead and taking action in the right direction. All right. I'm still on TikTok answering questions. Can I apply for U visa? I do fingerprinting like 2 months ago. So when can I get the work permit, please? So usually when you apply for the U visa, I don't know if you can apply for the U visa because I don't know. You haven't talked to you about your situation. Usually to apply for the U visa, you have to be the victim of a crime that resulted in your physical or emotional abuse. So if you experience, I say at a minimum, you were the victim of a crime, uh, whether it was reported or not, get in touch with us. Usually, to get the U visa, there has to be a reporting done. But we want to talk to you to figure out what can be done to get you to that U visa. Um, so U visa now, when we apply for the U visa, we also apply for our clients to get a bona fide determination, which gets them protection, it gets them the work permit, and that bona fide deferred action saying that no action will be taken against them. For example, they won't be sent to deportation proceedings while their case is moving forward. Now, the U visa takes very long, but you do have the benefit of having deferred action while you wait. Do I still have to pay annual asylum fee? Yes, even after the interview. Is it true that USCIS put on hold the green card process for 39 banned countries? Yes. So right now there's a hold, a pause on all processes. So immigration benefits like work permits, travel documents, um, green cards, visas, like the T visas, the U visas. So these have asylum. These have been paused. It does not mean that you don't still apply. Still apply. Make sure you're still applying, but there is a pause right now for those in the country. Can you help with a worker's visa? So it depends on what type. When in some cases we have to represent the employer has to be a 99% involved in the process. And in some cases you can petition for yourself. So what I say is definitely get in touch with us, schedule time, and we can talk about what you qualify for. Hi, Anne Marie. It's nice to see you. Welcome. First time on the live. So is there a law or something passed for state of Missouri for no bond for illegal immigrants? So unfortunately, the Court of Appeals has backed the administration, and said that they can hold anybody who has entered the country without inspection can be held without bond. So this is what's happening across the country right now, unfortunately. I'm certified trader, man, and truck driver. How can I get a worker's visa, please? What's the cost? Go ahead and schedule time with us. Let's talk. Are you in the country? If you're in the country, you wouldn't get a visa. You would have to look at whether you qualify for a work permit. So get in touch with us and I want to talk to you to figure out where we can help you and strategize on that. Can your social security number expire? No. That will always be the number. So, yes, even though the social security number you may have a certain amount of time that you can work under that social security number, that number will always be yours. So, say your work permit expires and you no longer have the ability to work with a social, but you can file taxes with the social. And in some cases, people still do use the social as a way to pay taxes if they're working as a contractor, as a way to pay taxes as they earn money as a contractor. I'm from Eritrea, which means ban, as I am in US already, take biometrics. Does it mean they approve me? And this is where I say still apply because they're still moving through the process. They're just not going to make any decisions on the case. But they're still pushing cases. They're still accepting cases. And you want to put yourself in a position to, as soon as they lift the pause, you have a process already going and you don't inadvertently disqualify yourself. That's important. I got married in November and came back to Jamaica. I'm coming back to NY. How soon can I file AOS? Now, keep in mind as you enter the country, you should not be. It's totally within your right to make a decision, later on after entry on whether you do want to stay with your spouse. However, as you're entering the country, you're not supposed to have that intent because that can put you in misrepresentation category. However, keep in mind that usually under the law, there's a presumption that if you get married within 90 days of your entry, you file papers within 90 days of your entry, or you're employed within 90 days of your entry. If the officer identifies that, then they may accuse you of fraud and misrepresentation when you were entering the country, basically saying that you were planning to do all of these things to stay permanently as you were entering the country because you obtained employment or got married or filed papers within that 90 days of your entry. And so it is definitely advisable that if you are here in the US and you want to apply for adjustment of status, that you consult an attorney to ensure that you're doing all the steps. We assist clients with the marriage-based process. We've been very successful with our process, and you can give us a call, schedule time. Now is the time to just talk about what your options are going forward. So make sure you talk to an attorney. That's going to be the best thing. Does the pause apply to pending asylum work permit? Yes. I'm from Eritrea, which means ban, as I am in USA already. So I answered that. Um, um, 2025, we filed jointly on Form 8379. I'm sorry, I don't, that's going over my head about that form. We'll add, and filing jointly, what are we talking about? Taxes? Or are we talking about immigration when filing jointly? It just depends. You file jointly, but I don't know what the concern is regarding filing jointly. It may be something that's questioned during citizenship. Um, okay, so you're talking about taxes. So husband owes taxes from 2022 before we were together. So keep in mind that once you file jointly, um, uh, you now become responsible for the taxes that are owed during that tax year that you file jointly. So it's important for you to make sure you're getting tax advice on how to move forward in that case, so you're not held liable in jointly for the tax debt. If you are, then you must pay. Yes, that can affect your citizenship if it's showing that you owe these taxes and you're not making a move to pay those taxes. It doesn't mean you have to pay off all the taxes, but it does mean that you have to show that you're complying with the tax liability, the tax laws. You're making an effort to make monthly payments and settle the debt. I have a work permit via, I think that's VAWA. So it says violence, but I think that's VAWA. Expires 2028. What's the next step? So the next step is a decision. You don't have to renew your work permit until 2028. And within that time, you should get a decision. Thanks for the love. Wow, we're at 11.4K likes on TikTok. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And it means that more and more people are seeing the live and getting information that empowers them in their immigration journey. So that's great. All right. So now I'm on YouTube, Facebook. How long my I-485 will get approved? My I-130 and my waiver, I think that's I-601A is approved. I'm originally from Morocco and I live inside the USA. So there's a lot going on here. If you have an I-601A waiver, it means that you don't qualify for adjustment of status. So you definitely need to consult with an attorney or your attorney if you have one to figure out what's going on. Now, if you're applying for VAWA and now you have a pending I-485, that's a different story. Now, when it comes to processing time, guys, the best thing to do is go to uscis.gov, go to case processing times and look up the forms. You'll see the range of time. I think it's best you get it straight from the horse's mouth. I am a US citizen and I applied for my 2 sons in Jamaica and they're documentarily qualified, but no interview at the embassy in Kingston, Jamaica yet. So yes, they have the immigrant visa pause, unfortunately. That's slowing things down. Hopefully that's going to be lifted soon, but just continue. They're documentarily qualified, which means they don't need anything for right now, but just start putting paperwork together that when they're called for an interview, you're ready to go. We help clients with that stage of the process as well for the interview stage. So you can always call us and get assistance if you need it. Is a work permit certain after doing your biometrics is requested when filing a VAWA? Nothing is guaranteed in immigration. However, when it comes to applying for VAWA and you're applying for the work permit, as long as you properly apply for a work permit, it usually is issued, the work permit, after the biometrics. Any new developments on the Dignity Act or DACA? Not right now. Hello, Damien. What happens after biometrics for I-360, I-765, and I-131 completed? then the work permit would come and also your prima facie notice. Any update on immigrant visa pause? Unfortunately not. Just keep applying. If you qualify, keep applying. You deal with students who have overstayed their student visa. Yes, we look at solutions, alternative solutions. Give us a call and let's talk about what's happening. Oh, thank you so much, Roger Williams. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you so much, Child of God Mackie. I appreciate that compliment. After VAWA biometrics, how long after you get your EAD and SSN? Um, Go to uscis.gov and you will see the processing times for the EAD. Just look up the I-765 form for case processing times. You'll see it there. I did my I-765 biometrics in January 2026. I went to my I-485 in March last, but have not received any authorization or my green card. So it's normal. Yes. Now keep in mind that I'm not sure what you filed an adjustment of status, but was it for VAWA? Was it marriage based? Green cards usually come after an interview, so you wouldn't get the green card so fast, but the processing times is still within normal processing times. Go to uscis.gov, go to find the form, case processing times, find the form, and you'll see the range of time it takes. Do they give work permits under asylum? Yes, we just got two. 2 days ago, we got two asylum work permits, and our clients are happy, and we sent it to them. So yes, I did my. So I answered that. What about citizenship? They're pausing citizenship for people from the 39 countries that are on the banned list. Now, if but do you still apply? Still apply, guys. Still apply for citizenship. It's just that you're gonna face a delay, but put yourself in the running to make sure that you have your case in process and you're not waiting for extended periods of time once they decide to lift the pause. Can a green card holder travel internationally with a minor misdemeanor? Great question. You may call it minor. It may be treated as minor in the community. However, under immigration law, it may not be minor. And so that's where you need to have that evaluated and evaluate your risk. You can always talk to us to determine. I would have to get facts. So, we'd have to look at facts to determine whether there are immigration consequences related to a minor misdemeanor. Is there a pause for U visa, T visa, and VAWA if you are from Jamaica? No. No. You're very welcome. All right, let me scroll. These are all great questions. And I don't want to leave because I just love the questions that we're getting here. So I'm going to answer some more. I'm going to push a little more, answer some more, and then head out. So let's do that last push, guys. Put those questions in the comments so I can answer. When you apply for T visa, you get your green card as well. T visa leads to green card. First comes the T visa approval, and then after 3 years, 3 of the 4 years, you can apply for your green card. So it leads to permanent residence. Is a pause for you visa, T visa, VAWA for Jamaicans? No. Good evening. Please, does the ban in EAD affect those who are to renew? Yes. So all benefits right now, the pause. I'm doing adjustment of status, marriage-based, married to a U.S. citizen. So I think I qualify for that. Okay. Now, keep in mind that I don't, I'm not your attorney and I don't know your case, but I think you shouldn't be thinking I think you need to know for sure. So if you're saying, so I think I qualify for that, that's not enough right now. You need to know, you need to be sure. So this is where I say, talk to your attorney or get one. Now is not the time to be saying, I think so. No, I'm telling you that it's not the time to be doing the I think. Um, Good night. Can someone apply for their spouse if they have been arrested multiple times? It's a possibility, but we have to understand what they've been arrested for because um, that can seriously affect the case and eligibility here. So you can give us a call. We can do a deep dive into that. So whenever it comes to criminal history, past criminal offenses, before you jump the gun and you submit the application, you need to have, we here at the firm, we call it a crimigration evaluation. So we do a deep dive into the background. We look at the specific charge, we look at the court records, then we look at how does the immigration law apply to this? So what kind of immigration consequences will come as a result, if any, as a result of the offense? Then we provide advice. Highly recommend that before you jump into anything, you do that deep dive, right? To ensure. And sometimes it's right off the bat, right? If it's a criminal offense that I'm like, yeah, that's serious. You're definitely gonna need a waiver, or you're gonna need more in your case. But in some cases, it takes additional research to determine what are the immigration consequences. So this is where, once again, having a lawyer on your side is going to be crucial, because these are the kinds of steps that we take here at the firm to ensure that our clients are covered, that we mitigate risk, and that we include all the relief that they would need to succeed in their case. Can a mother file for adult over age that is here in the US? Great question. A parent, if you are a US citizen or permanent resident, and you have an adult unmarried child, in the case of a US citizen, you have a married child, you may be able to apply for them, file a petition, but if they've overstayed here in the US, it's not going to be as simple as just going for the adjustment of status. Um, and actually applying for the petition without an adjustment of status can put them at risk for being sent to removal proceedings. So talk to us, definitely call us, talk to us about your options. And should I go to the interview knowing what's going on right now? Make sure you're talking to an attorney or your attorney. If you have an interview, you're not going to get to your relief if you don't go to the interview. You're not going to get to your green card. You're not going to get to, whatever you're applying for. You're not going to get to it. And you may be putting yourself at more risk not going to the interview, because keep in mind, once they have an interview and you don't show up, they send a denial, and then they send a notice to appear for you to go to court. But what is it that you're worried about? It really depends. The advice we would provide is going to depend on what exactly is it you're worried about. Is it that you're just worried about the climate? There's nothing going on with you. You're just worried about the climate. In that case, you should be going to your interview as usual. We have been attending interviews with our clients. They've been fine. It's not to say that these horrible things are not happening where people are being detained at interviews. It is absolutely happening. However, we are not seeing it on a large scale to the point where, every single case it's going to have us on pins and needles. So just don't miss out any opportunities for yourself. Don't let fear keep you stuck and frozen. It's important to put one foot in front of the other, even as we're fearful, right? We still have to put one foot before the other, because if you don't make progress, you don't reach your goals, you don't get the protection you deserve here. So, but do it wisely, right? When I say put one foot in front of the other, seek legal advice, get legal representation, take the steps to protect yourself and to mitigate the risk and consequences involved. How long is VAWA receipt taking now? So they're taking much shorter, but I would say 2 weeks to 4 months still. Can a green card holder travel without advance parole? Yes, yes. You're a green card holder. You don't need anything else. Is it certain to receive your work permit after they request your biometrics? I answered that already. Okay, let me see. Any more questions on YouTube? Um, Okay, if you want to see how long your adjustment of status is going to take through marriage, go to uscis.gov, look at case processing times. When we have attended interviews and represented clients in the marriage-based process, it usually we have gotten approvals on the spot. We've gotten approvals a few days later. So we've gotten approvals a week later. So it can happen. It can be right on the spot, or it can take weeks and also months. So we have had situations where we're still waiting for a decision, because in many cases they're still doing additional background checks on the back end, and so even after the interview they're still waiting. We're still waiting. So it can take right on the spot to get an approval, but it can take even months to get that approval. I need a lawyer to file military parole in place for me, please. Yes, we do that. So definitely get in touch with us and talk to us about it. When will Jamaica start getting the visa again? So we did see the news that they have lifted the pause on asylum adjudication. So I'm hoping this is a sign that they will be looking at lifting some of these pauses. We'll see. Where am I located? We are located in Delray Beach, Florida, but we represent clients in all 50 states and the globe. Can you marry a disability? I think it's marry somebody with a disability? I guess it just depends. That question is very broad. It's gonna depend. I have been married to a US citizen since 1988. I obtained my green card less than 1 year ago. Unfortunately, we are not planning to leave at this time. Am I eligible to apply for US citizenship? After 3 years, after 3 years of being married to the US citizen and having your green card, you can apply for US citizenship. Is it advisable to add your kid to your documents during citizenship process while in initial stage you denied the kid? Great question. So this definitely complicates your case here, because that's one of the major things that they look for is our inconsistencies in your application. If in your green card application you didn't put your child on the application, and then all of a sudden the child shows up on your citizenship application, they will surely ask about that. And I've seen where this has led to serious consequences. And instead of getting citizenship, they're getting a notice to appear in court to get their green card taken away due to fraud. Now, is it a paternity issue? If at first you didn't know about your child, or you were challenging the paternity, you truly didn't believe, then you need to definitely gather evidence of that. But here's the deal: get an attorney, because these are complex situations that you may not understand how to approach it, how to argue this, how to support your case. So get an attorney. If you're going to go through citizenship, you're going through it now. Now is the time. Thank you so much, Damien. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That I'm glad that I'm able to help people with this information. That's what we're here for. And that's why we're sticking this out. Thank you. So happy new month to you and your team. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And same to you. It's a good month. April is my birthday month, so it's a good month. All right. Thanks so much, guys. It's really been nice spending the time with you. I will be back tomorrow. So just make sure you like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell. As soon as I hop on, then you go ahead and hop on if you're available and you can continue to ask your questions. But hey, the way you are going to get truly take action is not by sitting here for too long in a live asking questions. It's taking action. We have been doing it. We have been we have been bravely moving forward with the processes, and we have been changing lives, and that's what's important. And how have we been doing it? We have been walking in faith and taking action while understanding the law, of course, making sure that we understand the law, making sure we understand the changes, but we've been pushing forward, taking action to make sure our clients are getting the relief. So you should do the same, but make sure you do it carefully. Consult an attorney, have an attorney to help guide you through the process, and be prepared for challenges. Challenges will come, may come in your process, but it's about putting yourself in a position where you can address those successfully. On TikTok, 20.4K likes. I think that is really a record. That's a record. So thank you again, guys. Have a good night, and we'll talk tomorrow. Bye bye. Thank you, Embrett.